In 2019, a 14-year-old girl named Alicia Navarro vanished overnight from her bedroom, leaving behind only a handwritten note. For 4 years, there were no sightings, no clues, nothing. But then one morning, she calmly walked into a police station over 1,000 miles away. She said she had run away. But what investigators uncovered next: secret cabins, coded journals, missing girls, and a chilling underground network would leave the entire nation stunned. In September 2019, Glendale, Arizona, was wrapping itself in the last heat wave of the year. Inside a modest townhouse on the edge of the city, 14-year-old Alicia Navarro was curled up on her bed, her laptop still glowing, her earbuds in. Her mother, Jessica, had just finished tucking in her youngest son and paused by Alicia's door. She peeked inside, saw her daughter still awake, whispered a goodnight, and went to bed herself. It was the last normal moment she would remember. For years, when Jessica woke up the next morning, Alicia was gone. The front door was slightly ajar. Alicia had left a note. In shaky handwriting, it read, "I ran away. I will be back, I swear. I'm sorry." Jessica's scream echoed through the walls of their home. Alicia had autism. She struggled with social interaction and relied heavily on routines. She wasn't the kind of girl who ran away. Police were notified immediately, and a missing persons report was filed. But as days turned into weeks, and then months, there was no sign of Alicia. No activity on her social media, no calls, no credit card usage. It was as if she had vanished into air. The media picked it up, briefly. Flyers were printed and posted across Arizona. Jessica gave tearful interviews, pleading for her daughter's return. But slowly, the case grew cold. Detectives changed. Leads dried up. People moved on, except Jessica. She never stopped searching. Every birthday passed without a cake, every holiday without joy. She slept with her phone clutched in her hand, praying for a call. In 2021, 2 years after Alicia vanished, Jessica started receiving messages from a mysterious social media account. They were vague, memes, quotes, even a blurry photo of what looked like Alicia sitting on a bench. Investigators traced the IPs but found only rerouted servers from out of state. Was it her, or just a cruel prank? Then in early 2023, Jessica's neighbor caught her in the driveway, phone in hand, her face pale. A woman had walked into a small-town police station in Havre, Montana. She claimed to be Alicia Navarro. She looked older, thinner, scared, but alive, very much alive. Jessica dropped everything and drove over 1,000 miles. When she arrived at the precinct, she was told to wait. Alicia was inside, being questioned. She had asked for help. She wanted to clear her name from the missing persons list. She said she had left willingly, that she had not been held against her will. But there was something in her eyes, a hesitation, a tremble in her voice. Jessica was finally allowed to see her. The moment Alicia saw her mother, she broke down. They embraced tightly, Alicia sobbing like a child. But the joy was laced with something else, fear. Alicia looked over her shoulder multiple times. She asked quietly, "Is he here?" Jessica didn't know what she meant. Back in Arizona, Alicia refused to speak about the 4 years she'd been gone. She said little. Investigators found she had been living with a man significantly older than her, but he had vanished before they could question him. Alicia had met him online. She had believed he loved her, that he would protect her. The truth was darker. Authorities now suspect Alicia was groomed, manipulated, and emotionally controlled. Though she claimed she left willingly, the signs pointed otherwise. Neighbors in Montana said she rarely left the house. She was seen only during night grocery runs, thin, nervous, always looking down. As more information surfaced, a new story emerged, one Alicia wasn't yet ready to tell. In her room back home, Jessica found Alicia sitting silently by her childhood desk. On it lay an old notebook. Inside were pages filled with doodles, journal entries, and cryptic words. One page stood out. It read, "He said if I ever left, he'd hurt the ones I love. But I left anyway." Jessica realized then. Alicia had come back, but something inside her had stayed trapped. The days following Alicia's return were not filled with closure, they were flooded with confusion. Jessica had imagined this moment 1,000 times, but she never expected it to come with so many shadows. Alicia was home, but she wasn't the same. She rarely made eye contact. She flinched at loud sounds. She hardly spoke unless spoken to. Jessica didn't push. Not at first. Police, however, had questions, and quickly. Where had Alicia been living? With whom? Was she trafficked? Was she in danger now? Alicia gave them an address in Montana, a small rented home in a trailer park outside Havre. But by the time authorities arrived, the place had been stripped. Furniture gone, no man, no fingerprints. Just one item left behind, a scratched laptop with no hard drive. The neighbors were split. Some said they'd seen Alicia only a few times, usually at dusk, taking out trash or walking quickly to the corner store. One woman recalled hearing yelling late at night. Another swore Alicia once had a bruise on her face. But no one called. The police. No one was sure if what they saw meant anything at all. Back in Arizona, Jessica tried to rebuild their life. She changed Alicia's room minimally, kept everything the same. Familiar. Alicia resumed therapy, slowly. One evening, weeks after her return, she opened up just a little. "He found me online, saw I was different, said I was smart. That he could teach me things no one else could," she whispered. "He didn't take me, I went to him." Jessica listened without interrupting, but after a while, it wasn't love anymore. "He said I owed him, that he gave me a home, food, protection. I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone. He said if I left, I'd be hunted." Jessica's heart sank. Detectives reopened the case, now as a criminal investigation. Even if Alicia left willingly at first, she had been a minor. And by all signs, she had lived under coercion and fear. But the man she lived with had used a fake name. Every trace of him was scrubbed. He hadn't worked officially. He paid in cash. He didn't exist. Meanwhile, news outlets began picking up the story again. Alicia's face was back in the headlines. Talk shows debated whether she was a victim or had simply run away. People who didn't know her speculated online. Strangers sent cruel messages. Jessica shut off the TV. She changed Alicia's phone number. But the damage had already crept in. One morning, Jessica found Alicia curled on the bathroom floor, shaking. "I thought coming home would make things better," she said softly. "But now I don't know where I belong." Jessica wrapped her arms around her daughter and whispered, "You belong with me." But she knew the healing would take years. And somewhere out there, the man who stole Alicia's teenage years was still free. Watching, hiding, waiting. And Alicia still hadn't told the full story. Alicia's story slowly began to unravel, not in one grand confession, but in fragments. A sentence here, a nightmare there. Jessica learned to stay patient, to listen without judgment, to sit in silence when Alicia needed it. It was during one of those quiet afternoons, as rain tapped softly on the kitchen window, that Alicia spoke again. "He had rules," she said, "not just about the house, about me. What I could wear, what I could say. I wasn't allowed to cry." Jessica's hands froze over the cutting board. She didn't look up. She didn't want Alicia to stop. "He gave me a phone. But it had GPS. He always knew where I was. Even when I went to the bathroom, he timed me." That night, Jessica cried. In her room, not because her daughter was broken, but because she had survived. Meanwhile, law enforcement had reached a wall. Without a real name, a clear photo, or a fingerprint match, the man Alicia described remained invisible. But one lead emerged. A supermarket security camera captured a shadowy figure dropping off Alicia near the police station. The timestamp matched the moment she walked in. He didn't go in with her. He didn't stop her. He just left. Authorities enhanced the footage. The car was old. A blue Dodge Dakota with a dent on the left bumper. But the license plate was missing. For weeks, nothing more surfaced. But then Jessica received an envelope in the mail, no return address. Inside was a single Polaroid photo. It showed Alicia, maybe a year younger, standing outside what looked like a rundown cabin. Her face was blank. A man's arm rested on her shoulder, but his face was cropped out. Scribbled on the back, "You think you're safe." Jessica rushed to the police. The image was real, no manipulation. Someone was watching. Someone wasn't done. Alicia saw the photo and froze. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. But later that night, she left a voice message on her therapist's phone. It wasn't just one cabin. There were others. Sometimes we moved in the middle of the night. He said if anyone ever got close, we'd disappear again. The next morning, Alicia asked to speak with a detective. For the first time, she mentioned a name, Dale. He called himself Dale. She wasn't sure if it was real, but it was something. A new thread. Investigators dug into aliases and rental records. Eventually, they found a cabin registered under the name Dale McKinney in Idaho. It had been vacated. 6 months prior, agents visited. The cabin was empty. But in the back closet, they found something chilling. A child's drawing dot. It showed a girl inside a small room with no windows. A man outside the door, holding a chain. At the bottom, scribbled in red crayon, "Don't tell." They showed it to Alicia. She whispered. That was the first place. Jessica knew then. This wasn't over. The ghost of that man still haunted every step Alicia took. And now, he was watching again. Word of the drawing leaked to the press. Local reporters in Idaho ran pieces on the abandoned cabin, speculating about cults, trafficking rings, and unmarked graves. But law enforcement stayed quiet, publicly at least. Behind the scenes, the FBI was now involved. And Jessica was asked to keep Alicia from media contact at all costs. But Alicia had already seen a headline online. Girl in chains? Navarro's cabin nightmare. She shut the laptop and didn't speak for 2 days. Jessica kept close watch. Alicia's eating habits were improving, her sleep still erratic. She no longer locked her door at night, but she placed a chair against it. Old habits from captivity. Then one late evening, Alicia walked into the living room holding something Jessica hadn't seen in years. An old flash drive she'd used before disappearing. "I think there's something on this," she whispered. Jessica didn't ask how she got it. They plugged it into her laptop together. Inside were dozens of files, drawings, photos, diary entries, and 3 video clips. The first was innocent. Alicia speaking into a webcam. She was maybe 15. "I'm okay, I promise," she said softly. "He says I can't call Mom yet, but he says he'll let me soon." Jessica watched the footage through her fingers. The second clip was different. Alicia's voice trembled. "We're moving again." He said someone was sniffing around. "I don't like the new place. It smells like mold." The third was silent at first. Alicia, sitting on the floor, knees tucked to her chest. She looked older. Tired. She glanced toward the camera and mouthed, "Help me." Then, behind her, a shadow passed. Jessica shut the lid. They gave the footage to authorities. It confirmed Alicia's timeline. But the identity of the man, Dale, remained elusive, until a break came from an unexpected place. An ex-tenant from a trailer park in Nevada saw the news coverage. He called in a tip. There was a guy who lived in Lot 13 for a few months. Went by Dale, had a teenage girl with him. Said it was his niece. But something felt off. He didn't let her talk. Investigators descended on the lot. The trailer had long been vacated. But neighbors confirmed it. The truck, the girl, even Dale's accent, southern, polite, manipulative. Alicia was shown a lineup of voices. Altered recordings from suspects. When she heard the fifth one, she flinched. That's him. Now they had a voice. And with that, they began building a profile, but danger still lingered. One night, Jessica noticed a car parked across the street. It idled for over an hour. When police arrived, it was gone. Tire marks led to the alley. Alicia's therapist advised a safe house. Jessica refused to hide. Instead, she installed cameras. Got a dog. Made their presence known. But Alicia knew what he was capable of. And somewhere deep inside, she feared what would happen if he came back, not for her, but for someone she loved. The next morning, someone spray-painted the Navarro mailbox with 2 words, "Stay quiet." Jessica didn't sleep that night. And Alicia, now more than ever, realized her return was just the beginning. After the mailbox threat, police increased patrols around Jessica's neighborhood, but no arrests were made. Whoever left that message was careful. No cameras caught a face, no fingerprints were found. It was a warning, not a mistake. Jessica sat Alicia down and asked gently, "Is there anything else? Even the smallest detail?" Alicia hesitated. Then she nodded. "There was a second man. I never saw his face. But I heard him." Jessica blinked. "Another man?" Alicia looked down. Sometimes Dale would talk to someone, like on a radio. He called him Red. He'd say things like, "Red said it's time to move again," or, "Red thinks you're getting soft." This changed everything. If there was another man involved, it wasn't just a case of grooming. It could mean an organized setup, multiple people moving Alicia across state lines, possibly connected to something deeper. The FBI reclassified the case as a multi-state criminal conspiracy. More resources were pulled in. Alicia, now viewed as a critical witness, was placed under federal protection, though Jessica refused to be separated from her. A few days later, a break came from a pattern. An analyst noticed that every location Alicia had mentioned or been traced to over the years was within a certain range of abandoned national forest cabins, all listed on a forgotten homesteading registry. It was a trail. One by one, agents searched the cabins. Most were empty, remnants of life long gone. But in the fourth one, hidden beneath floorboards, they found a leather-bound notebook. It had no names but was filled with dates, locations, and coded references. Alicia was shown the entries. She stopped on one dated August 14th, 2020. "That's the night I got really sick. Fever, vomiting. He told me I was faking it." Another line matched the day she turned 16. "He brought cake that day. Said we were a family now. I cried after he left the room." Each entry confirmed that Dale, or someone linked to him, had been keeping detailed records. But the most recent note was chilling. "Little bird has flown. Red says prepare backup nest." Jessica stared at the page. "Little bird. Alicia, backup nest. Was there another girl?" Alicia whispered, "He used to talk about finding someone younger. Said I was getting too old." Jessica's stomach turned. The search widened, not just for Dale, but for another potential victim. Missing persons databases were rescanned. Cases involving girls between 10 and 14 who vanished near forested regions were prioritized. One name surfaced. Emily Reyes, age 12, vanished from a campground in Oregon in mid-2023. Never found. Alicia saw her photo. "I've never seen her before. But that backpack. He bought me the same one when I turned 15. Jessica could barely breathe. Somewhere out there, another girl might be trapped, just like Alicia once was. And Dale, or Red, was still ahead of them. After the mailbox threat, police increased patrols around Jessica's neighborhood, but no arrests were made. Whoever left that message was careful. No cameras caught a face, no fingerprints were found. It was a warning, not a mistake. Jessica sat Alicia down and asked gently, "Is there anything else? Even the smallest detail?" Alicia hesitated. Then she nodded. "There was a second man. I never saw his face. But I heard him." Jessica blinked. "Another man?" Alicia looked down. Sometimes Dale would talk to someone, like on a radio. He called him Red. He'd say things like, "Red said it's time to move again," or, "Red thinks you're getting soft." This changed everything. If there was another man involved, it wasn't just a case of grooming. It could mean an organized setup, multiple people moving Alicia across state lines, possibly connected to something deeper. The FBI reclassified the case as a multi-state criminal conspiracy. More resources were pulled in. Alicia, now viewed as a critical witness, was placed under federal protection, though Jessica refused to be separated from her. A few days later, a break came from a pattern. An analyst noticed that every location Alicia had mentioned or been traced to over the years was within a certain range of abandoned national forest cabins, all listed on a forgotten homesteading registry. It was a trail. One by one, agents searched the cabins. Most were empty, remnants of life long gone. But in the fourth one, hidden beneath floorboards, they found a leather-bound notebook. It had no names but was filled with dates, locations, and coded references. Alicia was shown the entries. She stopped on one dated August 14th, 2020. "That's the night I got really sick. Fever, vomiting. He told me I was faking it." Another line matched the day she turned 16. "He brought cake that day. Said we were a family now. I cried after he left the room." Each entry confirmed that Dale, or someone linked to him, had been keeping detailed records. But the most recent note was chilling. "Little bird has flown. Red says prepare backup nest." Jessica stared at the page. "Little bird. Alicia, backup nest. Was there another girl?" Alicia whispered, "He used to talk about finding someone younger. Said I was getting too old." Jessica's stomach turned. The search widened, not just for Dale, but for another potential victim. Missing persons databases were rescanned. Cases involving girls between 10 and 14 who vanished near forested regions were prioritized. One name surfaced: Emily Reyes, age 12, vanished from a campground in Oregon in mid-2023. Never found. Alicia saw her photo. "I've never seen her before. But that backpack. He bought me the same one when I turned 15. Jessica could barely breathe. Somewhere out there, another girl might be trapped, just like Alicia once was. And Dale, or Red, was still ahead of them. In early spring of 2024, the case took a darker turn. The FBI tracked a series of payments made to off-grid cabin rentals across the Pacific Northwest, all in cash, all using the alias Dale McKinney. One payment stood out. It was for a property near the Washington-Oregon border, less than 15 miles from where Emily Reyes had vanished. Agents arrived at the property in April. It was isolated, miles from any paved road. No power lines, no plumbing. But someone had been there recently. Food wrappers, burned logs, a rusted water barrel. And in the dirt beside the cabin, a child's sneaker, pink, size 4. Jessica wasn't told right away. But Alicia was. When agents showed her the sneaker, she stepped back. "He always bought that brand. He said they made girls look innocent." Search dogs combed the area. No signs of life, but deeper into the woods, behind a cluster of old pine trees, they found what looked like a root cellar, locked from the outside. When they broke it open, the air smelled of mildew and metal. Inside was nothing but a blanket, a plastic jug of water, and the initials "Oz" scratched into the dirt wall. Emily Reyes, she had been there, but she wasn't anymore. A manhunt launched across 4 states. Billboards went up. The FBI released a facial composite of Dale based on Alicia's descriptions and AI aging software. Tip lines flooded. A dozen sightings. None confirmed. Jessica watched the news every night, holding Alicia's hand. Then an anonymous message arrived at the Glendale police station. Typed, "No return address." Postmarked from northern Idaho. It read, "You took one, but you'll never find the others. Red always has a plan." Jessica was never shown the note, but Alicia was, and she broke. That night, Alicia had her first panic attack in months. She screamed in her sleep. Jessica held her as she sobbed, whispering, "He's watching. He's always watching." The therapist changed their sessions to daily. Federal agents installed hidden panic alarms throughout the house. Jessica quit her job. Every breath felt like a countdown. 1 week later, a park ranger near Priest Lake, Idaho, reported a strange incident. A man camping deep in a no-access zone left in the middle of the night, abandoning his tent, food, and supplies. Surveillance showed a blurry figure with a slight limp. Alicia had once said, "He hurt his leg years ago." Limped on his right side. Hated doctors. Agents flooded the area. No man was found, but nearby, tucked in a hollow tree, they discovered a Polaroid photograph. It showed Alicia from years ago, younger, pale, standing in a room with concrete walls. Next to her was another girl. Not Emily, someone else. About 10 wide-eyed. And in the bottom corner, scrawled in pen, "Birds don't fly far when their wings are clipped." Jessica stared at the photo. How many were there? The Polaroid changed everything. It wasn't just Alicia. It wasn't just Emily. There had been others within days. FBI analysts matched the unknown girl in the photo to a 10-year-old reported missing in Utah in 2021, Lindsay Hawley. She had disappeared from a church parking lot. No leads, no suspects. Her case had gone cold. Until now. Jessica sat beside Alicia as the agents explained this. Alicia didn't blink. She only whispered. She was quiet. Never cried. He liked that. The room fell silent. They now knew the scope. 3 confirmed girls, 1 back, 2 missing. But they feared there were more. Alicia made a decision. "I want to help," she said. "I'll go back." Jessica looked up. "What?" "Not physically," Alicia clarified, "but in my memory. All the places. All the smells. Every little thing. Maybe something I forgot will help." A trauma-informed team created a safe environment. Over the next week, Alicia underwent deep recall sessions. Bit by bit, she remembered details: a landmark on a highway, a rusted welcome sign near a wooded trail, a noise the door made at a particular cabin. Agents followed every breadcrumb. Then it happened. Alicia remembered a logo. A faded patch on Dale's duffel bag. A red hawk with a missing wing. She thought it was just decoration, but a federal database search linked it to a defunct survivalist compound that disbanded in 2009. A prepper group once investigated for extremist ties. One former member, Harold Redman, known to use the nickname Red, his last known associate. Dale met Kinney. It all locked in. They weren't just predators. They were connected by ideology, believing the world would collapse and only the worthy deserved to survive. Girls like Alicia, groomed to be dependents, quiet, obedient. Jessica's hands shook as she read the report. A joint task force raided a remote farmhouse registered under a shell company tied to Redman. They found evidence of recent occupancy. Inside a locked room. In the basement was Emily Reyes, alive, frail, but breathing. In a corner, curled up and terrified, was Lindsay Hawley. 2 girls. 2 more lives pulled back from the brink. But neither Dale nor Redman were found. Journal left behind said only, "You broke the chain, but not the plan." Still, the nightmare had cracked. For the first time in years, Jessica felt the grip loosen. Alicia stood at the edge of their front yard weeks later, eyes on the horizon. "Do you think he's still out there?" she asked. Jessica didn't lie. "Maybe," Alicia nodded. "Good. Then he can see I'm not scared anymore." In the months that followed, Alicia helped counsel other survivors. Quietly, off camera, she still flinched at loud noises, and sometimes woke up in tears. But she laughed again. She painted again. She even applied to college. And in the summer of 2025, for the first time since she was 14, Alicia went outside alone. She walked to the corner store, bought a chocolate bar, and smiled at the cashier. Freedom in the smallest things.